Hey guys, Brett here, connecting from UbiCentral, and today I'm going to be talking about my gameplay impressions for Watch Dogs Legion. So yesterday I played the game for about an hour, and I definitely have a lot to talk about in terms of gameplay. As for the story, I didn't really spend that much time with it and only saw one cutscene, so this video is just going to focus on my impressions of the gameplay. With that being said, let's start off with what I like the most, and that is definitely the combat and gunplay. For those of you who don't know, the combat has been upgraded so you can now dodge enemy punches, or you can grab onto them and punch back. Obviously this isn't anything revolutionary, but it's nice to finally have a better combat system in Watch Dogs. Not to mention, some NPCs are better in combat and can punch harder or faster, while others are not really made for it. But this game really shines when it comes to the gunplay. There is a variety of non-lethal and lethal weapons, and some of the takedown animations, which you've already seen, are insane. The gunplay really reminded me a lot of Watch Dogs 1, which was great to see, and the weapons, more specifically the lethal weapons, sounded really good. Another very positive thing about this game is the customization. Just like with Watch Dogs 2, there is a ton of different clothing options to choose from, with different stores offering unique outfits. If you really wanted to, you could literally have a grandpa in his underwear walking around the streets of London, which is great. You can also purchase different masks at some of these stores, but to be honest, I didn't really see a lot of options there, but to be fair, I am playing an alpha version of the game, so obviously things are still subject to change. As for cars, there was definitely a nice variety of them, and they didn't just copy and paste car models from Watch Dogs 1 or 2. I didn't do that much driving, but the cars do have radio stations, and they seem to handle pretty well from what I played. Just keep in mind that the steering wheel is on the right side of the car, because I forgot every single time. While we're talking about cars still, I was disappointed to find out there wasn't a first-person camera. Again, this was alpha gameplay, so it's something they could eventually add at launch. We just gotta hope, because right now there is no different camera views. There's just the one standard one. There's not one that goes further back or a first-person mode, which was disappointing to see. The last thing I enjoyed from a gameplay perspective is the new NPC feature. Being able to play as literally anyone is a pretty cool idea. This definitely changes up gameplay opportunities, as some people could be better at stealth, some are better at combat, or just better at handling different weapons. Some people are more resilient to combat than others, and the list goes on. Again, I was playing as a grandpa, and it was really challenging to take out enemies. This grandpa was so slow, he tripped when doing parkour. It was a beautiful mess. Now, I agree from a story perspective, this idea could be a disaster, but from a gameplay perspective, they make it work. Not to mention, NPCs that you recruit can be assigned special abilities like AI cloaking or summoning a spider drone. You can also run into any of these recruits randomly in the open worlds, and they'll recognize you. Seriously, what they did with this system from a gameplay standpoint is ambitious, and it deserves some credit. Also, I really love the fact that if you try to approach a mission in stealth, that the enemies, if they spot you, will use a baton and just combat instead of pulling out a gun right away. It's a small thing like that that really makes a game, and it's way more enjoyable. Now let's talk about something I'm a bit iffy on, which is hacking. As you all know, Watch Dogs is a game about hacking, but for some reason, they decided to remove some features that don't really make sense. For example, you can no longer call a cop or a gang on someone. And in its place, they didn't really add anything new. You can still move cars to the left or right, but it would have been cool to drive them remotely. Also, I didn't even notice the ability to hack traffic lights. I'm sure you still can, but the fact that I didn't even notice is pretty sad. But yeah, overall, hacking didn't really improve that much, which is sad to see because this game has been in development for quite some time. Maybe as you upgrade your character, there will be some more hacks, because right off the bat, I didn't really notice anything that special. The spider drone is cool, but it's just an ability that you throw down. It's not really hacking. Overall, hacking still felt alright, but I guess I just wanted to see more. Now, the most disappointing thing I experienced was the parkour. Now keep in mind, I was limited to a specific area, but in this area, there was really no room for parkour. I didn't find myself jumping over gates, jumping from building to building, or anything of that nature. The comparison I would make is Assassin's Creed Unity to Assassin's Creed Odyssey. While parkour is still featured in the game, it just doesn't feel as fluid or necessary. Also, the sprint button is right trigger now, which is great, but you have to press A to jump on or over stuff. It just ruins the flow, and I wasn't impressed in that regard. It feels like it was a step back. And the last thing I want to talk about is London. As always, Ubisoft does a great job recreating places, and London is no different. I believe there is 8 boroughs in this game, and from what I've heard, all of them have a different vibe. The game looks beautiful, especially at night. Overall, I actually think this game is a step up from Watch Dogs 2 in terms of gameplay, except parkour. Again though, this game is set to release in March, so there's still a lot of time for everything to be improved or changed. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions about the gameplay, let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.